Getting pretty busy down here once again on the circuit at Zuera. We've just had a fantastic Mini X30 final. Congratulations to Archie Lovett. He'll be making his way to the podium very soon. However, our attention turns to the 125cc Junior X30 category. This is where the real horsepower comes in, and the contenders who are on the red MGs, the hard compound, are getting ready for supremacy. But not a familiar face yet, as Thailand's young charge, Austin Gale, finds himself 12th position on the starting grid. He's been knocking on the door of the top 5 all weekend long, and there's still every opportunity for him to work his way forward. Just when you thought you could have one Gale on the grid, you can have two. Toby Gale is there in 15th position on the starting grid for the Crop Promotions team. And for the pride of Thailand, very much hoping to follow in the footsteps of the likes of Alex Albon and Enzo Tarnvanichkul, two Thai kart stars. And I have a feeling that Toby and Austin are going to be right behind them.
Well, Jake, down there on the grid, then the grid gets cleared now, and we are moments away from getting the Junior X30 final underway. It's the IAME Euro Series, it's round 1. We're at Zuera, and 36 drivers once again about to do battle here around this 1 mile long circuit. The grandstand fills with spectators and onlookers getting ready to witness a truly amazing race that's about to take place. The privateer, Hugo Manas, starting on that front row. There he is, the low down shot as he limbers up and gets ready to go racing. Callum Clark alongside the number 6 in the Victory Lane team, right there alongside. The outside line has not been the favourite throughout this entirety of the weekend, but some drivers have made it work. Will we see it work this time around? Like we say, Thomas Kinsey and Harry Bartle on that second row just behind as well have all got an opportunity to come away with this one. But like you say, 12 drivers in with a shot for this one. You can't pin it to just one, can you?
I really can't. This has been probably one of the most unpredictable Junior X30 weekends that I can remember. Usually you get about 5 to 6 drivers who could win the final. Today, I genuinely am looking at that grid and thinking there's at least 12 who could win this final. It is so open. Cahal Clark has a chance to run away and hide if he can get a decent start. But Hugo Manas has been a real thorn in the side. His consistency and his discipline has been what has kept him at the front end of the field. Kinsey and Bartle have had massive flashes of brilliance as well. They've really surprised the field, I think, here coming in and showcasing what they can do. Sandro Perez has had some bad luck, but in terms of what he can do over one lap, he's probably, pound for pound, one of the most exhilarating drivers in the field. Alongside him, you've got Sharp, then you've got Mackie and Lloyd. There's always that dynamic at Fusion Motorsport. You can never count that out. They are very good in terms of their strength in numbers. If they start working together, they're going to force their way through the field before people even realize it's happening. Then you've got the likes of Phelps and Green, the unknown factor in the Jamie Green Racing team. You've got Dan Dalakian, who's suddenly come on strong. There are so many factors in this race. And even Kuznini and Van Bosch, if they can start to make progress, what about Thibaut Ramakers? He could even make progress as well, a little further back. There are so many drivers that could win this. So Hugo Manas and Cahal Clark on the front row, Thomas Kinsey and Harry Bartle behind, then Sandro Perez and Aston Sharp, Harrison Mackie and Freddie Lloyd, Dan Dalakian and Isaac Phelps, then Zach Green and Austin Gale, Tiziano Kuznini and Sasha Van Bosch, Toby Gale and Louis Comine, Clovis Nujerade and Thibaut Ramakers, Romeo Roussel and Rocco Coronel, Raoul van Tharen and Eden Spanswick, Arthur Dodonka and Javier Broasca, Alexis Constant and Bertram Sacha, Taron Kinard and Joe Smith, Vilma Svan and Sam Woolley, Elvis Krasauskas and Matt Corby, Timo Koopmans, Jensen Graham, and then Angelina Proenza and Kilian Josselin fill the final row of the grid.
This is going to be a very busy final. The juniors gave us some very dramatic superheats earlier on today. Are the fireworks going to be just as magnificent in the final? We are about to find out as the drivers make their way onto the warm-up laps and the formation laps. They'll do 2 miles before they even get going racing. So if you are just joining us, welcome one and all to the IAME Euro Series here at Zuera. It's the first round of 4 in the series this year, and Junior X30 about to do battle. If you're joining us on motorsport.tv, YouTube or Facebook, welcome one and all from around the world. You can keep up to date with all the action in terms of the timing, the live timing on there. You can head to the IAME Euro Series website, and if you want to see the results from earlier, you can also head to the IAME Euros website or head to ucart.io. and you can catch up with what has happened throughout the weekend. But Jake, this is going to be a very good one. The air temp now 18 degrees. It's the hottest it's been all weekend. Track temp is looking a little bit hotter as well.
And that could really come into play, considering that most of the data from this weekend has been in cooler temperatures. So all of a sudden, it's now going to be the hottest part of the weekend. The drivers have not had any running in temperatures this high this weekend. And obviously, it's the red MGs, you know, the harder compound, so they've got to try and make them go the full 14 laps. You've got to push harder here than you would have done probably in any other session over the course of the week. So this is a real tough challenge, and I don't think it's going to stay particularly predictable for the entirety of. This could have a bit of an ebb and flow, and it'll change a couple of times, I think, before the checkered flag falls. We could have several different lead changes, several different drivers leading. I have a feeling we're going to go around again this time, though, and no, we are racing up to the first corner. Hugo Mañas gets the perfect start. Kinsey goes with. Clark drops into fourth position behind Bartel, I do believe, and as they work their way forward up to turn 2, it is going to be an incredible start from Mañas and Kinsey, who have already got a bit of distance behind them. There's a little bit of an off from a couple of drivers further back in the pack. We've got 1 or 2 drivers going off in the background. I'm afraid that's all gone wrong for Zach Green, who has ended up going rodeo over the back of one of his rivals. So Zach Green has dropped all the way to the back of the field, but at least he can keep going. Unfortunate as it is for Zach Green, out in front, no problems at all for Mañas in front of Thomas Kinsey.
Yeah, but Kinsey's already on the attack here. He tried to go for moves in the first few corners. It looks like he's died down now. He stayed behind and not tried anything through turn 8, but he has tried it through turn 9 though, and he takes the lead of the race. So Thomas Kinsey on the first lap, diving to the lead as they went through turn 9, and Mañas down into P2. That's allowing everyone else to now close back up, as it is Sandro Perez who's up into 3rd place. We said he could make moves, and he has now in this, from 5th place now into 3rd. He is on the tail of Mañas as they go across the line, and Mañas instantly fighting back through turn 1, retakes the lead as Perez now looks potentially for a move. It's as defensive goes Kinsey, who dives back down the inside. This is a 3-way battle, and now Perez up into 2nd place. Mañas down into 3rd, and he's under pressure because now comes Freddie Lloyd on the outside, out the side of Harry Bartel.
And Kinsey is already defending on the 2nd lap. This is pretty tricky stuff for the Frenchman. He knows that Perez and Mañas are going to be strong, but he really shouldn't be defending this early doors because there's so much race to go. Look, we've got 8 of them. Kinsey, Perez, Mañas, Lloyd, Bartel, Gale, Clark and Phelps. This is going to be such a tough race from here on out, as Kinsey clearly feels that he hasn't quite got the pace to stretch away from Perez and Mañas, so he's going to have to try some defensive tactics. Look, there goes the move from Kinsey. Watch Perez as he drifts through to the inside line, almost gets level with Kinsey, but there's not a lot Mañas can do. He has to let him go, and now diving through up the inside. This is the battle in the middle of the gaggle, because you've got a really tough run. That is Smith and Krasauskas in the mid-pack having a bit of a duel. The leaders are going to come across the line this time by, and it's Kinsey and Perez, and they are pulling away from Lloyd and Bartel. Mañas down to 5th with Kyle Clark.
Yeah, this is very interesting, and a change for the lead as Perez now takes it through turn 2, retakes the lead. Well, he doesn't retake the lead, he now takes the lead of those racers. Now Kinsey falls down into 2nd place. Lloyd's still there in 3rd as well, defending furiously as he's under attack from Harry Bartel. Mañas has dropped down even further now, as I believe it is Kyle Clark, in the number 6, who has come up now into P5. So Mañas now down into P7. This is a disaster for the privateer, who had such a brilliant start to this weekend. This was the move, and through turn 2, just nicely timed under braking, just slid it through, no drama whatsoever, says Sandro Perez.
Well, he's having a fantastic season, isn't he? He was 5th in the Winter Cup last month, of course. Sandro Perez, he's had a very busy time over the course of things. He won in Zuera in the European Championship, of course, last year, don't forget. So Sandro Perez definitely knows exactly where he is to continue making his progress. He's had some very strong battles over the years. He was actually the runner-up, I do apologise, last time in the Winter Cup. So Sandro Perez knows exactly how to get the wins done. But Kinsey and Lloyd are definitely going to push their way further forward. It's going to be a tough one.
It is indeed. Plenty of time left to go. We're on lap 3 of 14. Fastest lap, Raulton Zardin, who is currently down in P17. So he's in that middle pack of kind of massive bunch of carts, but he's still setting the fastest laps, which is incredible, just to show that there is still pace down there in that midfield. I've got to say, Perez is looking strong here. He's pulled away from Kinsey and Lloyd, and none of them have really gone defensive at all. So I think just outright pace. Perez has got this.
You've got a feel for Hugo Mañas, though. He's slipped all the way down to 9th position. He's done a fantastic job in the heats, but he hasn't quite been able to sustain it so far in the final. There's still plenty of time to get it back again, but it's going to be harder and harder the more karts that get past him. So Perez is your leader. Kinsey still running in second. Now watch Lloyd. Lloyd is going to work with Kinsey here down the main straight as Cathal Clark has worked his way into 4th position in front of Harry Bartle, and Thibaut Ramekes has moved up into 7th place behind Harrison Mackie. So Ramekes is charging his way through the field like a cat out of a bag, and he is really working his way forward. Now here comes Kinsey with support from Lloyd. They're going to try and take on Sandro Perez down to the hairpin. No move yet. It's far too early to be thinking about that. Clark has just banged in the fastest lap, though. A 1:05.1 for him. So there's still plenty of chances for him to take on this opportunity. Timo Koopmans, by the way, did not start the race, so he has not made any impression on this one, unfortunately. But still, the top 3 very close together. Lloyd having a think about Kinsey. He wants to get the move done in a 2nd position. He makes Kinsey move across, and Freddie Lloyd gets into 2nd place. Now, they've got to respond to this quickly. They cannot afford to let Sandro Perez get too far away.
Well, they already has opened up quite a bit of the gap, so they're going to have to work together now. They are going to have to be, well, friends for the next few laps, unfortunately for them. They don't want to be, I suspect. They want to be battling away furiously. But
look at Lloyd's pace.
He's got some waft under there now. Has he got enough, though, in the toe? Can he slot in here and latch onto the back of Perez before they even get to turn 1? Do you know what? I think he can. He's really close up that gap, and he's going to go for the move straight away. What was that?
Freddie Lloyd has got massive waft in this one, and on lap 6 he works his way through to the lead. Perez doesn't like that, wants to get back on the inside. Kinsey and Clark are trying to find the way through on the inside of Lloyd as well. So Kinsey's got there, Clark has to back out of it. But Freddie Lloyd is definitely a threat to everybody now. He's got some waft as we had somebody going off there in the background kicking up the dust. But certainly Freddie Lloyd in 3rd position is a real danger to the men up front. He's got massive speed, and if he gets half a chance, he could disappear.
Guess who's joined the back of this pack, though? It's Harrison Mackie in the number 21. Now there's 2 fusion karts in this fray, and we know what happens when those 2 start working together. It can all go their way. Now, as they go through out of turn number 9, or 13, I should say, in towards 14. Again, we'll get onto this long straight and what's going to happen here, because we saw Lloyd close a massive gap. Is he going to be able to just sail past Kinsey as they go through? Yes, he is. Straight to the inside, side by side through turn 1. It closed up as close as it could get, and now Clark dives down the inside of Kinsey as well.
Sideways Bartle! Bartle getting us sideways there with Mackie. They very nearly ended up in the collision zone, and Kinsey managing to hold on in front of Bartle and Mackie, who are still banging wheels with each other. Clark has now got Kinsey behind him, and look, Clark is getting frustrated. Come on, stop banging wheels with me. The top 2 have already gone.
Mañas back in this fray as going off the track there. Who is that? Is that Mackie?
That's Mackie gone off, and Mackie is out of the race by the look of it. Oh, disaster for Harrison Mackie. He had such a great chance there, and I'm afraid Harrison Mackie's race has ended.
An absolute disaster. Him and his brother have worked so hard throughout this weekend. They worked hard to get that engine up to where it needed to be, to get it down that start-finish straight, and it looked like it was working so well. This was Lloyd on Kinsey through turn 1, and how close it got.
See, watch. Now, Kinsey doesn't even know this is happening, so here came the manoeuvre. We didn't quite get to follow it on. Rocco Coronel, that's unfortunate. He picks up a warning flag, and I'm afraid the 5-second penalty goes with that as we hit halfway through. But that was all based on the fact that Clark went for the move, Lloyd went for the move. Kinsey didn't know he was coming, and that just opened the floodgates. And so everybody from Clark to Mackie to Bartle, they all felt, well, I can get through here. This is my chance. And there was just a little bit of rubbing, a little bit of wheel banging, and all that meant was that Harrison Mackie got spat out. What a shame. I'm afraid Harrison Mackie is going to have to visit the barber again tomorrow.
He will indeed. That hair will get even shorter, and but you got to feel for him.
Yeah, he really worked hard this weekend.
It's not the way you want to start the weekend or start the championship.
No, and he's been one of the stars of the weekend. There's no doubt about that. He really has put on an excellent show, Harrison Mackie. He deserved a lot more from this race than he's been able to get out of it. So I'm rather hoping that by the time he gets to karting the Fania next month, the demons will have been put to sleep. He can focus on his objectives, and he can really achieve his potential. He really does have amazing opportunities for the last 3 weekends of this season. Now, Lloyd reeling in Sandro Perez once again. Look at Timo Ramakers. He's come up to 5th position in front of Mañas, and he's got past Bartel and Phelps as well. So there's quite a few drivers here that have been given a short shift from Timo Ramakers, who could still make it to the podium for my money.
Yeah, he's up 13 positions as well in this one now into P5. But he is under pressure from Mañas, who, of course, is recovering. He started this one on pole position. We expect him to go far as there's a cut off in turn number 2.
Yeah, there is.
I'm going to see who falls down the order, I think.
That's
Zunzaren, that?
It is Thuntharen. That's a real shame. Now, he had worked his way up about 9 places. So Raoul Thuntharen, I'm afraid, has now dropped to the back of the field as well. The Monlau Competition driver. That's devastating for him. He's now got to do all that hard work all over again, and it's going to be virtually impossible from the back this time.
This is starting to heat up here now because Lloyd's closed that gap up much, much more than what it was on the last couple of laps. Is he going to pull out of the slipstream at the end of this straight? We'll find out as he goes on to the start-finish straight now. He had the momentum earlier on. Is he going to maintain it here? No, he's going to stay behind, but is he going to send it down the inside in towards turn 2? Thinks about it. No, he is going to stay behind, so not going for the move straight away. Biding his time, just waiting for that opportunity to come to him. He thought about going for the moves early on, and each time he did it, it never really fully paid off for him, did it?
Yeah, Kinsey having to try and make his bid on Clark because Ramakers is coming in on thick and fast, and another driver is kicking up the dust on the way through to the hairpin at turn 4. But Clark holds on in front of Kinsey, Ramakers, Mañas and Bartel. So they're still all in the hunt for a podium position at the very minimal. But if they start to battle, here goes Mañas on the inside of Ramakers, and Bartel's going to try and go with him as well. Ramakers will not take this defeat. Lying down, gets back on the inside of Bartel. No, it's taken me this long to get this far up. I am not going to drop out of the top 6 now. So Bartel is going to have to try and figure something else out to get through past Thibaut Ramakers. The Belgian, of course, who represented his country last year in the FIA Karting Academy Trophy, now battling on here in the IAME Euro Series once again. But Freddie Lloyd reeling in Sandro Perez. Again, they're just trying to stretch the gap out to Clark behind because they know how threatening Clark and Kinsey are going to be if they're anywhere near close to them. Freddie Lloyd doesn't want to battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th. He wants to win.
Sandro Perez checking over the shoulder there just to see Freddie Lloyd. Only the one car in his rear view mirror. Clark is still there, though. It does look like he is closing that gap up. They are going a fraction faster over the last couple of laps. This time around they were a little bit slower, so it is just it's kind of yo-yoing at the moment, isn't it? Ping-ponging for this lead, but they're running out of time. There's not much time left in this race. Laps are running out, and Freddie Lloyd really looking like he's got the best opportunity here to go for a win.
So now we're going to have to see if Lloyd can overturn Sandro Perez and get through into the lead. Clark in 3rd position, Kinsey in 4th, then Mañas, Bartel, Ramakers, Phelps, Van Bosch, Gale and Delakian. And then it's Austin Gale in 12th position ahead of Roussel, Spanswick. Constant is the last point scorer for the moment. But with 3 laps to go, you do get the sense that Lloyd is waiting for his time here. And Clark has managed to catch up to both of them a little bit on the previous lap. So Cathal Clark is not out of the hunt for the victory at all.
You'd be thinking if you were Perez, all you can hear is the whine of that 2-stroke right behind you. It's all you'll be able to hear as you go through. These two absolutely neck and neck in terms of pace out there. It's all going to be down to who can have it on terms of track position as this race progresses. Not much time left in it. A little bit further back in the order as well. Timo Ramakers is still there. He's gone down now into P7 as Bartel now has managed to get up into P6. So they have changed their position a little further back as well. Another big movement. Alessi Constant as well, the 111, up into P15. 10 positions gained in this one. Not going to be enough to get to the top. And you can see Manas just there as well. Just saying, come on, keep pushing, keep pushing. There's still potential in this.
There really is. All it needs is a little bit of fist bumping in the last couple of laps, and anyone can still take this victory. But Perez and Lloyd are trying to get well clear of everybody else. Sandro Perez down the straight. 2 laps to go then, and Freddie Lloyd is hunting him down. Freddie Lloyd needs to keep the element of surprise favourable to him at this point. Sandro Perez will be expecting an overtaking move into 4. He'll be expecting an opportunity to open up. But Freddie Lloyd needs to keep the Spaniard guessing. He needs to really surprise him with this overtaking move. Where will he pitch it? Where will he go for the move? This is about the prime time to start making it, especially now that you've got Clark and Kinsey really getting up behind them now on your 6. This is going to be a really tricky lap and a half, but Sandro Perez is trying to pull clear of Freddie Lloyd before the move even comes.
Well, yeah, like you say, they've got to do it sooner rather than later, because as soon as he goes for the move, Clark and Kinsey are going to be on their rear bumper straight away. He looks behind him and he can see how close he's getting. I reckon Freddie Lloyd's going to go for it on this next lap. We'll have to find out. He's going to have to, really, because they'll be going on to the final lap very soon. So here they go then, out of the final corner they go. And back onto the start-finish straight. Is he going to do the pull out of the slipstream? He looks like he's dropped back a little bit there, I have to say. Perez really pulled the pin on that one as we go on to the final lap. And now, here comes Lloyd round the outside as Perez goes defensive in towards turn 2. Checks over the shoulder. Is he going to get the switchback? Lloyd looks for it. He can't get it. Puts his hand up. Furious about that one. Now he's going to go for the switchback move here, and again Perez holds it. Keep an eye on Clark and Kinsey. They've closed up, and it's side by side for the race lead, as now Lloyd is worrying about what's happening behind him.
Lloyd is actually a quick front fairing in front of Sandro Perez as they get to the braking point, so Perez has the inside line. He can hold it nicely as they come out of 7 up towards 8. Perez needing to go for it. Look, Lloyd is pushing Sandro Perez. Come on, stop looking back, stop defending. They're coming for us. We can battle in the final couple of corners if you want, but Clark and Kinsey are reeling us in big time. Stop defending. We can battle right to the line, but Freddie Lloyd is seeking an opportunity, and it's running out. He is running out of opportunities. Sandro Perez is keeping this one nice and defensive as they come out to the final couple of corners. Clark might get Lloyd before Lloyd gets Perez. They come off the final turn. It's going to be Sandro Perez. He will win at home, just in front of Freddie Lloyd by 77 thousandths of a second. Sandro Perez will put the Spanish flag on the top of the podium. What did we say about Sandro Perez? Never count him out. He has the amazing firepower, and how about that? He gives a congratulations and receives it from his 2 combatants, Freddie Lloyd and Cathal Clark. They fist bump and shake on a fair fight. It's first blood to MDC and Birilat. Carlos Leon and the whole crew down there will be absolutely delighted for their boy wonder, Sandro Perez.
Brilliant race all the way throughout, and look, still congratulating the entire field. Super happy with that one. The Spaniard really showing what he's got, and you know, he started this one back on the 3rd row of the grid in P5. He gained 2 places on the end of the first lap and really showed his true pace out there. That race there just showing that the Spaniard's got what it takes. It could be his year. Can he maintain this momentum going into Belgium?
He was always a strong mini, and now he is a really strong junior. Sandro Perez ahead of Freddie Lloyd and Cathal Clark, Thomas Kinsey and Harry Bartel from Hugo Mañas and Thibaut Ramacas, Isaac Phelps, Sacha Van Bosch and Toby Gale in the top 10. And then the final points are scored by Daniel Delakian, Austin Gale, Eden Spanswick, Javier Proasca and Romeo Roussel. 16th for Rocco Coronel, and then Alexis Constant ahead of Arthur de Donker, Zach Green ahead of Clovis Nougerade, Aston Sharp ahead of Elvis Krasauskas, then Tiziano Kuznini, Kilian Josserin, Jensen Graham and Tyron Kinnard from Louis Comines and Vilma Svan, Angelina Proenza and Sam Woolley. Then in 31st it is Joe Smith ahead of Matt Corby, Bertram Saxa, and unfortunately at the back of the field it is Raoul Thanthanen. Harrison Mackie retiring mid-race, and Timo Koopmans unable to take the start. But Sandro Perez, first blood to the Spaniards.
Does indeed. Virtual Championship standings at the end of that one. Perez with the 31 points, clear by 6 from Cathal Clark